Hello, salutations, what it do? It's Dr. Gamer, all father of the Do-Rag Gang. You know the vibes, like and subscribe, let's get it. Good morning, chat. How's everyone doing today? What's up, Sandy? What's up, Jesse? What's going on, Rishi? What's up, Don Quixote? What's up, Soldier? What's going on, Black Shadow? A little bit different format today. I never stream Saturday mornings, and I'll probably end up doing this on Fridays, but I wanted to test out doing Super News as a live show instead of another pre-recorded video. I was just going over a bunch of the news and stuff that I had found last night and everything. I was like, hey, you know what? Let me just go live. We'll talk about it because I know people are going to have questions, and I can just give the news, give my opinion, answer questions, in and out. We'll be good. So if you enjoy this format, make sure you smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Should be interesting. All right, so I'm gonna try to keep this straight. You know, I'm not going to be playing the game. This is not going to be a 4-hour stream. Just going to go over some of the news, some of the leaks, and answer some questions, and we'll go from there. All right, so first off, we'll start with this AAA story for those that may have missed it. Amy Hennig is going to be working on a project with Skydance Media. This was originally announced back in 2019. It was going to be a AAA project, but we now know for a fact, thanks to Marvel Games, that is in fact going to be a Marvel video game. According to the details they released so far, the game is going to be narrative-driven, blockbuster action-adventure, a completely original story and take on the Marvel Universe. So people obviously are speculating about what's it going to be. Personally, I think it's going to be Fantastic Four. However, according to a leak from 4chan, this new AAA Marvel game that Amy is working on is going to be Daredevil. And I'll give you the 4chan info here. Good morning, Amar. Granted, once again, this is for 4chan. This is not from Reddit. This is 4chan. They are well known for their hoaxes, but this does sound at least interesting. So apparently this post was originally made in March of 2020 on 4chan. Now, what he says is, and this is according to his own source, Marvel is currently working on a Daredevil single-player, narrative-focused game set to release on next-gen consoles in late 2021. We know that's not true. Or 2022. Cutting it close if they started working on it in 2019, but we'll see. Current target platforms are PC, Series X, PS5, definitely not Switch. Game will be open world, modern day Chicago, and to offer a very dark noir style detective game all focused on melee combat. Combat apparently similar to Arkham and Mad Max, but with some extra cooldown based abilities that are customizable through a skill tree. There will be an echolocation type mode to activate, similar to Arkham's Batman detective mode, that during combat will allow for slow motion, and while roaming offers highlighted hints for clues related to your current mission or open world side missions. He couldn't get too many details on the story, but the villain is apparently an older yet new to the game Bullseye. Meanwhile, it seems Daredevil has been at this for quite some time. The map size is supposed to be pretty big, taking advantage of the next-gen SSD and other hardware capabilities. It seems, however, that free roam is only allowed at night and barely any missions will take place in the day. Similar to Spider-Man PS4, depending on where you are in the story, the open world is at a set weather time / effect. Now, all that may be true, good chance is not, but he gave a bonus leak, and this bonus leak lends some credibility to the Daredevil side of the leak. He said early development has begun on a Marvel's Wolverine title, but unlike Daredevil, it will not be an open world game and will instead be more of a God of War PS4-esque type of game, when expected release for like 2 to 3 years though. So that is indeed interesting. Assuming this is not a fake, this is 4chan again, grain of salt. Assuming this is indeed not a fake post and he actually made it on March 25th, 2020, this lends some credibility to the potential leak, because in addition to apparently knowing that they were working on a Daredevil game, he correctly predicted that they are doing a Marvel's Wolverine game. Of course, we found out this year that Insomniac is the studio working on the Marvel's Wolverine game that was revealed at the PlayStation Showcase. So this person's sources correctly gave him the scoop on the Wolverine game. So there's a decent possibility, if this is true, that the AAA game that was just announced is going to be a Daredevil game, which would be pretty interesting. We still do not owe Pennywise an apology. He said that they were currently working on that Insomniac was currently doing a Daredevil game, and obviously we still don't know if this is actually going to be a Daredevil game, but we know that the two games Insomniac are working on are Wolverine and Spider-Man 2. So no Daredevil. Daredevil was abandoned a year ago or so, but apparently, according to this person, it's still very much a thing. We'll have to see when they eventually reveal what the game actually is, but all we know for a fact is that it is going to be a big AAA story-driven game from the writer-director from the Uncharted series. So for on the Marvel's Avengers side, this leak is from Reddit. This one is from Reddit. And it is apparently the same guy that posted the last leak about the content plans for 2022, Hydra, new skills, all that stuff. Apparently this is the same person. He said, "This is a throwaway account. Initial idea was to get in and out with my first post. After reading all these questions, I decided to try and clear some things up to the extent that I can. Warning ahead, little to no info on things such as gear, updates, quality of life, etc." So, questions about the game lifecycle. There are no plans to stop development on the game as of a few weeks ago. Outlines are still planned for some years ahead, but then again, not everyone knew / was told that the game would get its launch delayed back in 2020, but people are still optimistic about the project. The idea of Captain Marvel being the final hero is not a thing, at the very least not anymore. So what he's responding to there is Stardust looked at his initial post on Reddit and he made a video where he ran it by an actual source that he has within Crystal Dynamics or Square Enix that actually would know how, reliable these leaks are. So he wanted to run it by him to see how true this guy's Reddit post was. And according to him, he did not say Captain Marvel was going to be the final hero. He said that he said there are currently no heroes planned beyond Captain Marvel. That is from someone who actually works inside confirm who actually works inside Crystal Dynamics / Square Enix. So that could, rain on this guy's parade. If that is true, I'm much more skeptical about this post than the other one. But according to him, he says that they have combat outlines already for Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, and he thinks that Loki, Doctor Strange, and Scarlet Witch are coming out in 2023, and Doctor Strange is going to be first. He also, for some reason, redacted the 2022 heroes. He said She-Hulk, Winter Soldier, Captain Marvel. The other one would be War Machine. I don't know why he didn't put that there, but that is the only possible fourth hero that could come out in 2022. So don't know what that one's about, but I'm much more skeptical about this post and the previous post because Slight Stardust does in fact have sources within the company that would know, and him coming back and trying to counter the Captain Marvel thing makes me a little bit more skeptical. In regards to Scarlet Witch in particular, he said that her support ability will allow her to control enemies, nearly all enemy types, he meant, with the exception of bosses. She can fly. Her base assault ability is outlined to have 5 charges on low cooldowns, as it seems is an important part of the overall flow of her kit. That's all he provided so far. Again, I'm pretty skeptical about that, but we'll see. Now, for more concrete information, last night on the official Discord, the devs were active and they were talking about the game. They were answering questions. Brian Wagner is a system designer. He was brought on from Marvel Heroes, and he was talking about the raid. People were asking about the raid and gear, and I took the liberty of just highlighting some of his most important answers that people had, and go over what that means potentially for the actual raid itself. So he was teasing us about the cosmetic vendor rework. He said, we know that players want access to exclusive earnable cosmetics, and we're making that happen with the earnable cosmetics update. He also was talking about how good it is to see the vendor full. He's currently working on a blog going over exactly what earnable cosmetics are going to be about, and that's supposed to come out sometime in November, as well as a blog about gear. Now, for the raid, he said the only places to get items gear higher than 150 will be Family Reunion, the normal raid, and the elite raid. But if you get other items from other missions, you can upgrade them beyond 150 with the items that you get from the OOT/raids. He also said that gear you get from normal will be vital for you to progress through the elite. You also will get exotics for each of your heroes for both the normal and the elite raid. So when you do the normal raid, each character once per week, when you finish the raid, you will get, I think we can assume 2 exotics per character once per week. But because there's 2 types of raids, normal and elite, you're going to be able to get, not only will you be able to play the normal raid to get exotics for whatever heroes that you main, you're going to be able to play the elite raid same week, and you'll also get exotics for whatever heroes that you want. So right off the bat, you're getting a lot more exotics from the raid than you would be getting from the Omega level threat. And he said that they're going to be exclusive perks from the gear, from the exotics that you get from the elite version of the raid. So that, in terms of actual, getting rewards, that is a good thing. He said there will be rewards for completing, after you complete the raid for the exotics. You won't get exotics, but they will be giving you rewards. We don't know what those rewards are. And obviously we're worried that it's going to be like the Omega level threat, where you complete the Omega level threat, you get your exotics, and then after that you only get upgrade modules and what was it, a blue ISO. He would not confirm what the rewards would be, but he made a big deal about how they're going to be encouraging you to keep playing the raid more than once. And he, kind of took a little jab at, kind of targeted toward Lejeune, because Lejeune was in the Discord as well, and Lejeune famously got pretty emotional when he found out that the raid would once again be giving out rewards once per week. So he's apparently trying to make us think that it's going to be okay. I'll have to see it to believe it myself. Good morning, Big B. I want to know for a fact what the raid is actually going to be. Now, as for the part that people are a little upset about, because all news is not good news when it comes to Marvel's Avengers. People are a little mad. This is also from the Discord chat. Someone asked, if you come with a character that is not optimized with Vibranium/Sonic gear, will the raid be impossible to complete? So Brian said it will be doable, but more difficult. However, he also said that that's only for the normal version. For the elite version, it might be impossible to finish if you don't have Sonic and Vibranium gear. Which, not great. not great. I'm going over the leaks and the news so far from Marvel's Avengers. I'm trying this out, doing Super News Live. It's going to be a live show, keeping it kind of short, just going over news. So the Sonic and Vibranium gear, as you know, can only be found in Wakanda. But the problem with that gear is that it not that it can only be found in Wakanda. The stats are locked. You can only get certain stats for that gear. So not only does it limit the type of build that you're getting, that you can put together, because if you're playing Elite, basically that means you have to have a Sonic and Vibranium build. But the gear doesn't drop the stat with a diverse amount of stats. So for example, if you're looking for a Vibranium or a Sonic piece for your melee slot, the only stats that drop on it are might, proficiency, and resilience. And when it comes to the range slot, it only drops proficiency and precision. You don't get Valor. You're not going to be able to, if you're trying to do a Valor build, you're not going to be able to get it on the slots that you want, because their stats are locked. So you're limited to the build that you can run, and you're limited to the stats that you can have for that build. In addition, the raid is going to be he said the raid is going to be much longer. He said it's longer than the Omega level threat. He said the fastest someone completed the raid so far was 90 minutes, and it's taken as much as 2 hours. And there's not going to be join in progress. So if you crash during the raid, potentially you're throwing over an hour of your time out of the window because you can't join back in. So that could be a problem as well. Now, as for the Spider-Man news, Alex, another dev, teased that we're supposed to be getting some Spider-Man related information starting next week. Next week is November, the beginning of November, and they said that they're waiting until after Guardians of the Galaxy has its, a little moment before giving more updates about the game. And they promised that they would give a bigger update about the content starting at the beginning of November. That's also going to be the time where they rumored to finally talk about the XP booster thing, which they still have not addressed. It's been about 23 days since it happened. They still have not made a public statement about the incident. So hopefully next week, in addition to the information about the raid and Spider-Man, we'll also get some kind of clarity / apology about the whole XP booster situation. But according to Alex, you should definitely be on the lookout next week if you're looking for some Spider-Man related information. We don't know any specific details whatsoever about the Spider-Man DLC. We don't know. All we know is that there's going to be a story. There's going to be cutscenes. We don't know anything else. There's no details. That's it. They've managed to keep a tight lid on Spider-Man. No big leaks. That's all we know. More, we'll just have to wait until next week. The raid, I'm expecting out maybe the end of November, and I'm personally expecting Spider-Man in December, and I'm expecting the raid sometime in November, maybe like towards the end of the month. And we'll probably get a blog about it next week, and then they're going to give us a blog about the cosmetic rework and the gear, the changes that they're making to gear. Brian confirmed that in order to level up your gear, you're going to need, starting with the update, fragments and upgrade modules. That's it. They would not confirm whether or not they're going to increase the cap for upgrade modules or if they're going to decrease the amount of fragments that you have, but those are going to be the two main resources for upgrading your character. Just upgrade modules and fragments. And you should be concerned about that potentially though, because like I said before, they have fragment extractors for sale right now. And I'm already hearing reports that people are getting less fragment drops than they used to get. So it's possible that fragments are getting some kind of nerf so that they could sell the fragment boosters. Look out for that. It could happen. Now for the exotic gear for the raid, we don't know too much about it. Alex said that he was allowed to do more of what he wanted and make stuff more hero specific, but we don't know how good that's going to be because the last Avengers standing stuff isn't very good. But they are going to have vibranium and sonic exotics. Brian confirmed that last night. So if you're wondering when you're going to be able to get sonic and vibranium on your exotics, that should start with the raid. So look out for that when the raid finally comes out. It's also going to be, they also seem to have kind of designed a bit of a loop. They're kind of what they're going for. They're trying to expand the rewards for Mega Hive, and they're going to try to make Family Reunion worth grinding to some degree. They're going to increase the rewards for the Family Reunion to per character as well, and they're going to drop gear that's higher than 150 on that. Plus, Brian said that the gear you get from the normal raid is going to be useful for completing the elite version of the raid. So they're encouraging you to play both every week. So let me see what kind of questions we got. Woodrow, can you get the exotic gear? Was that meant to be vibranium? If so, yeah, I answered. Yeah, that's supposed to be in the raid. Good morning, Ahmad. So maybe the Spider-Man one that's on there on the Xbox version might be another hint. So once again, Guardians of the Galaxy and Marvel's Avengers completely separate. They are not shared universes. There are no planned crossovers as far as anyone knows. Separate universes, nothing related at all. Definitely would love some Spider-Man specific perks. I just want to know what's going on with Spider-Man. That's all. It's been over a year, and the only thing we have is a blurry photo. So I think we'll get content past 2022. It depends on how good the content does in 2022. Right now, I wouldn't bet on it. I would bet on, maybe, from what I've heard, we should get some content in 2023, but I don't know how much. It's really going to depend on performance. Like Square Enix is not going to keep pumping money into the game if it's not bringing in revenue. So I do think it'll get some content in 2023. I'm not sure it'll get supported through all of 2023. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how well the rest of this year and how next year goes. What's up, Rating Looney Tunes? Did they release a date for the raid? No. There are a lot of Easter eggs in Guardians of the Galaxy, but they are still separate games from Marvel's Avengers. Said they adjusted OLT gear. You played it yesterday and finally got a usable piece of gear. Wow, that is the bar we have right now. Usable. Kevin Lau wants to know when Spider-Man is coming out. He's coming out this year. Probably December. What's the Suicide Doors of the Porch beat? I have to look up the playlist. I got it from a copyright-free music playlist. Just had a bunch of songs on there, so I'm just using it. But yeah, I am loving this particular selection. We don't have any specific details about Spider-Man's story. I think that was all the big stuff they covered last night. Brian personally is playing Spider-Man himself. He's been testing Spider-Man out. He of course would not give any details. He apparently has not used Spider-Man in the raid yet. He so far is just using a full support Kamala, and he said he's using a Vibranium Iron Man laser build, and he's used a range Thor build before. So it sounds like if you do the raid, you might want a healer, and you're definitely going to need Vibranium and Sonic gear for all your characters. Apparently that's just going to be the way it's going to be. So I'm probably going to run I already have Vibranium and Sonics for the characters that I want. So I'm thinking I'll probably end up running Hawkeye for the raid for the first time, either Hawkeye or Thor. I've got a healing Hawkeye build with Vibranium on the split shot, and I've got a range Vibranium Thor, and I've got a melee Vibranium Thor. I've got a range Sonic Black Widow, and I've got a Sonic Laser Iron Man. So I definitely recommend start farming for Sonic and Vibranium gear right now in Wakanda. If you plan on playing the raid, you're going to need it. What's up, John? Going well. Last Avengers Standing dropping new exotics. So in regards to the exotics for Last Avengers Standing, they are apparently not actually new. Well, not as new as they made it seem like in the blog. Someone Like for example, that new exotic for Hawk. Someone got that way back in August. The one with the what is it? A Gamma Spark. That new perk. That's apparently an old perk. So the perks aren't new. The exotics themselves aren't new, but the main update they did was they just took away some of the generic perks that they had on that gear and replacing it with more hero specific perks. But apparently the perks, some of the perks aren't actually new. They've been in the game for a few months at least. Some people are saying the Spider-Man DLC is a mini game. I can confidently tell you they have no idea what is in Spider-Man DLC. Appreciate you, John. Always deliver on your panel. I try. Appreciate you. Shout out to New Zealand. Hopefully they just do something like make heroics charge back slower, which could push the usefulness of Sonic, but doesn't dictate it will have a higher heroic charge rate. That would be something. Oh yeah, speaking of Sonic, they said that they heard us about Sonic being super annoying to look at. And so Brian said that they have adjusted Sonic for the raid so that if you're hit with the Sonic status effect, it's going to be a lot easier on your eyes than it was when you were playing War for Wakanda. So that's good news. You're also going to have to, keep in mind for the way the mechanics work for the enemy types. I think it's something like you use Sonic on Vibranium enemies and Vibranium on Sonic enemies. I think that's how it works. But most importantly, Sonic is going to be less annoying if you're hit with it. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, because parts of Wakanda were literally just unplayable because you couldn't see anything on the screen. It was so bad. And they're supposed to have a lot of Sonic and Vibranium type of enemies. They also said there's going to the progression is going to be like typical raids. It's not going to be, mob, boss, mob, boss, mob, boss. There are going to be a lot more puzzles thrown in there, as well as mini boss fights. So you're going to have to do some thinking, not just pew-pewing with your heroes, apparently. Am I excited for the new content? Kind of excited for Spider-Man. I'm more curious about the raid. I'm not convinced that the raid is going to be actually good. I think Spider-Man could be pretty cool. I always like playing Spider-Man, but nothing, I'm not really jumping out of my seat over. And I don't see myself spending money in the marketplace unless they actually at the very least address the controversy in a non-scummy way. If their plan is to just never address it again, just never address it and just talk about other stuff, I'm never spending money in the marketplace ever again. That, because then I'll okay, message received. You don't care about the players. But I will always give the new content a shot. James says they won't give us Stormbreaker or update Hawkeye MCU suit, but bet you'll get that spider armor suit with the spider legs if they do that. See a square. I mean Stormbreaker, those are a whole different things. Yeah, Hawkeye, updating Hawkeye's MCU suit to give him hair is something they discussed. Stormbreaker is something that they tried to do for the skin, but it didn't work. They couldn't get it to work in game. So that's why they would have had to essentially replace Thor's hammer with a different weapon that would completely change the animations and throw everything off. So not really fair to compare that to a hypothetical Spider-Man skin that they've been developing for over the last year. We don't know what they plan for Spider-Man. If they do have the Iron Spider suit, it's possible that they planned that all along, and that's why it's in the game. The only reason Thor doesn't have Stormbreaker is because they didn't originally plan for him to have Stormbreaker, and just doing all that for the skin, it just wasn't possible in the time that they had left. Sonic is like wearing foggy glasses. Yes, it is. What if they fool us and they're saying Spider-Man game is coming next year? That's not happening. What do you mean? Insomniac Spider-Man is coming in 2023. Marvel's Avengers Spider-Man DLC is coming this year, no matter what. I believe the quote was, unless the studio burns down or something, Spider-Man is coming out on Marvel's Avengers in 2021. Why Silver Surfer on the thumbnail? Because my current prediction for the AAA Marvel game is going to be Fantastic Four. They drop Doctor Strange, might the COVID. We'll see if they make it to 2023 and if they start with Doctor Strange. You just wanted the hoodie on the Hawkeye. So did I. I thought Ronin Hawkeye would have been the better one. Did I miss something about Silver Surfer? Nothing yet. Next year it's Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad, God of War 2, and Horizon Forbidden West. Spider-Man is 2023. You think Insomniac multiplayer game is Fantastic Four? Skydance could do something else. Who knows? So the 4chan leak thinks the Skydance, well, he didn't say Skydance, but he said that they're working on a Daredevil game. A Daredevil game is being worked on, story-driven. And we know Skydance is working on a AAA story-driven Marvel game. So the current prediction on the internet is that the Skydance game is going to be Daredevil. We'll have to see. I personally don't think Daredevil is big enough to be considered a AAA blockbuster game based on the description, but who knows? It could very well be a thing. That's why I predicted Fantastic Four, or it could be X-Men. Because when I think of AAA blockbuster story driven, Daredevil doesn't come to mind. You know, Daredevil's gotten, a lot more popular because of the MCU, but I don't know about I don't think blockbuster AAA when I think of Daredevil. Did I play the Demon Slayer game? Yeah, I streamed it. And I've been playing it offline. It could still be a single player game. It just might not be Daredevil. There are other big Marvel characters or smaller Marvel characters it could be. You never know. We know it's not going to be Wolverine. So Insomniac's got that. But I don't know. Could be Doctor Strange. The rumor was that Insomniac is working on Doctor Strange, but it might be Skydance. That'd be a big character. It could be Scarlet Witch. A Scarlet Witch solo game. That could be what we get. Deadpool? Maybe? Yeah. He's a pretty big name now. Silver Surfer needs to be a playable character in AAA game. Yeah, that's why I'm predicting. That's why I initially thought Fantastic Four, because it's a blockbuster AAA type of type. It would be a blockbuster AAA type of game because Fantastic Four are pretty big, and we know the MCU is trying to revive Fantastic Four, and this could line up kind of with the timeline, help them do that. We all know Marvel games is pretty particular when it comes to all this stuff. They try to, you know, plan this stuff out. So could be. I don't know. I'm thinking Fantastic Four though. All these Marvel games coming out out of nowhere. Marvel really going hard. Yeah, Marvel. I mean, it is the biggest IP in the world right now. Right now, DC is all the DC games are being made by the same company, so they're gonna have to catch up. You don't care what it is. You just hope it's not a card. Definitely not a card game. They did say it is going to be 100% is a AAA story-driven action adventure game. So it is not. It is not going to be a card game like Midnight Suns. Midnight Suns is not a story-driven action adventure game. It is a tactical. Is a tactical game. It's a tactical strategy game. So that we rest assured we're not going to get the Midnight Suns treatment. We just don't know what the character is. Do I think Spider-Man is coming to Avengers? He's already been confirmed for this year. DC got a lot of catching up to do. I don't know. Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad look like they're gonna be bangers, so we'll see. We don't even know. 2022 is probably gonna be their year. I don't, unless Marvel's Avengers turns things around. I think Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad are going to take all the superhero attention, and then the Insomniac's game doesn't drop until 2023, and we don't know when the Skydance Marvel game is coming out. They started development in 2019, so it's possible, since if it's indeed, you know, since it's going to be single player story driven, it could be it could late 2022, maybe, but I don't know, it's cutting it close, because Guardians started development in 2017. That's a single player story game, very well made, but they started working on it. Eidos Montreal started on it in 2017, and that game didn't come out until 2021. So I would say the Skydance one probably isn't coming out until 2023. Especially since they just announced it is going to be a Marvel game, and they won't, and they wouldn't say which character. So 2022 seems very unlikely. Can I do what with my music? They should license Spider-Man to Xbox and PC to boost the game's popularity. I mean, they're doing pretty well on PlayStation, and Sony hates Xbox, so not happening. Who do I want to be the Fantastic Four villain? We always get Doom. I wouldn't mind Galactus, as long as we get like a Galactus as the final villain. So but I want to put the Heralds of Galactus, because I want to be able to fight Silver Surfer and everyone. So if we get like Heralds of Galactus and Galactus as the final boss, that'd be pretty cool. What's up, Bionic Hazard? What is real? You gotta be more specific. The stuff about the raid, from Marvel's Avengers, that's from a dev, so yeah, it's real. The Scarlet Witch stuff, I think is fake. I think it's gonna be Ant-Man. That's interesting. Well, they make an Iron Man game. We could play as him as Marvel's Avengers. Yeah, I don't know about Iron Man. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a. I mean, because they made Iron Man games in the past. I don't see them going with an Iron Man solo game, because it's got to be story driven action adventure game. This is someone from Uncharted. Yeah, it's got to be. Right now, my money's on X-Men, Daredevil, or Fantastic Four. Those three seem the most likely. A villain game would be cool, but doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I mean, yeah, I don't think Iron Man's a popular character, but I don't think there's demand right now for an Iron Man game. So I would substitute Iron Man with Scarlet Witch. Or I don't know, maybe hell, even Moon Knight. Moon Knight's coming into the MCU. They could definitely make a rich story-driven game out of Moon Knight, but he's a more obscure character. That's why I was thinking like Scarlet Witch. But yeah, Iron Man, no, I don't see it. Ant-Man is definitely not something planned for Marvel's Avengers anytime in the future, anytime soon. Unfortunately, he is currently not part of the characters currently being developed and is not in any of the plans that I know of going forward. So if you're an Ant-Man fan, you're going to have to be satisfied for now with summoning Hank Pym with the Void Tech transponder. Will they introduce Fantastic Four with Dr. Doom in the MCU? I have no idea what they're planning on doing with the Fantastic Four movie. They haven't even cast anyone yet, from what I know. So I don't know what they're going to do villain wise, because they haven't even done anything. We don't even know who's going to play Reed Richards. But the big bad for the MCU in the future is going to be Kang the Conqueror. So I don't know. I know he's going to be the main villain in the new Ant-Man movie, but he's obviously going to be popping up in other projects because of the events of Loki. I don't know if maybe he'll show up again in Fantastic Four, but it's a good chance they do Doom again. But I feel like with the MCU, they're going to go away from Doom because that's what everyone expects. They should drop a hero exclusive for all platforms. No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't have done the first hero exclusive with PlayStation. And fortunately, they promised to not do it again. But you know, take that with a grain of salt, because just because they promised something doesn't mean it's true. But understand, Spider-Man is the most popular Marvel character. PlayStation is the most popular platform where most of the players are. So it made perfect sense from a business standpoint why they did the Spider-Man exclusive. It would not make any sense from a business perspective to give Stadia and PC and Xbox their own exclusive hero. That wouldn't make any sense at all. Unfortunately, I know it sucks, but y'all just not going to get Spider-Man. That's just what it is. Server shot. Do they swap Hawkeye DLC Disney Plus in next month? What do you mean? As far as I know, the Hawkeye The Hawkeye event is still planned. It's probably should be next month. The Hawkeye nameplate event that's on the roadmap. I'm sure we're getting more than a nameplate. I'm assuming we're getting the Kate Bishop MCU skin, but the Hawkeye show comes out towards the end of November, so I would expect the event to be during that week. So you should be able to pick up the Hawkeye nameplate to celebrate the show, and which will premiere with 2 episodes, and you should be getting an MCU skin. What if they do a Marvel Knights AAA game where you can play as Daredevil, Moon Knight, Punisher, Echo, Blade? So kind of like Midnight Suns, but not bad. Sure, why not? How many villains does Fantastic Four have? You only know Mole Man and Doctor Doom. Fantastic Four. Let's see. We got Mole Man, Doom, Galactus, the Heralds, Puppet Master, Impossible Man, Red Ghost and his Super Apes, the Skrulls, Mad Thinker, Super Skrull, Molecule Man, Hate Monger, Diablo, Claw. There you go. The Kree, Psycho Man, Annihilus, Overmind, and Airwalker, Terex, Abraxas. They've got some stuff they can do. You would rather pay for characters in Marvel's Avengers? I think that would be the better choice going forward in terms of their finances, rather than doing these underhanded mobile game tactics. It would just be better to just be like, look, we got to charge for characters and go from there. Kevin, I'm not sure what you mean by switching. There's no switches. There was never a switch as far as I know. From apparently Spider-Man, the Spider-Man DLC was mostly finished a few months ago, but they've been holding off, waiting for the right time to release it from a marketing perspective, which tells me they're planning on releasing Spider-Man in December, because we finally got confirmation No Way Home was coming out in December and wasn't getting delayed. So I think the plan became, okay, we'll wait to showcase Spider-Man after Guardians of the Galaxy, and then we'll drop them for No Way Home. As far as I know, the plan has when they came up with the Hawkeye nameplate event, the plan was always to release it around the time of his Disney Plus show. Spider-Man, all DLCs so far for this game are free. When do we get classic Hawkeye? I think we already have it. An inspired by one. Don't we have a inspired Hawkeye classic suit? Catch up on what happened. Anyone doesn't mind explaining it? Sure. There's a AAA Marvel game coming out from Skydance and from Amy. What was her name? Let's see. She's from Uncharted, Amy Hennig. Yeah, she was a writer and director for the Uncharted games, and she also worked on Jak and Daxter, Legacy of Kain. Yeah, she's doing a AAA Marvel game with Skydance, according to a leak from 4chan from last year. They They believe it's going to be a Daredevil game. It's basically going to be like an Insomniac Spider-Man game, but with Daredevil, open world, taking place in Chicago. And I went over a bunch of details about the raid that we got from Brian Wagner, who works on system designs for Crystal Dynamics. You can go through the replay. I'm not trying not to have this thing going on too long, but we're supposed to get an update about the raid and Spider-Man next week, first week of November. And you should definitely start farming Vibranium and Sonic gear right now. Is going to be very important if you plan on playing the raid. That if you're still playing, if you're doing the raid, get yourself some Sonic and Vibranium builds. It's going to be very important. According to Brian, it might actually be impossible to do the elite version of the raid if you don't have Sonic and Vibranium gear. So be warned. You're going to have to, sounds like it's not going to be any way around it. If you do the normal version of the raid without Sonic and Vibranium gear, it's doable, but hard. Apparently the elite version is going to be impossible. So do with that information what you will. We're also supposed to be getting a lot more exotics from the raid, because you're getting raid exotics for each character once per week instead of one account, one character, and you're getting exotics for both the normal version and the elite version. Roadmap has no dates on it. Well, no months. That's just the order they put it in. Yeah. The only thing they said in terms of time frame for the roadmap was winter. So we're all just guessing here. Those laser Iron Man ain't a joke. It is a lot more fun. All right, guys, like I said, I didn't want to make this one too long. I just wanted to give a quick rundown because there was a lot of news, lot of leaks that I wanted to address. Hopefully we'll get more clarity about Spider-Man next week, and I'm very curious to see what the AAA Marvel game ends up being. Currently, I'm betting on Fantastic Four or X-Men, but strong possibility it could be Daredevil as well. We'll have to see. As far as the raid for Marvel's Avengers, not terribly excited. There's some potential red flags, but it sounds like at the very least they're trying to make it so that it's more rewarding from a gear perspective, and we're more encouraged to play it multiple times. There's supposed to be blogs about it coming in the next few weeks, probably starting next Thursday. So be on the lookout for that. I'll do an update I'll be streaming on Thursday when they actually do it, so I'll be able to cover it live. But personally, I think forcing people to get Sonic and Vibranium gear for the raid, but also locking the stats for that Sonic and Vibranium gear is a recipe for a bad time. Plus, the raid sounds like it's going to be pretty long and there's no join in progress. So if you crash, you're starting all over again for a potentially hour or 2 hour long piece of content. So that could be bad as well. We'll have to see, but I'll talk to you guys next week. If you're a member for the channel, then check out the Discord. I'm still going to be doing the game session later today, starting at 1 p.m. So if you are a member and you want to hang out, play the game, play any game, chat, it's usually me and Tyversal, but everyone is welcome to join if you are a member. the notification will go live in the Discord at 1 p.m. But hopefully we'll have more clarity about the actual raid starting next week. But definitely get yourself some Sonic and Vibranium. For build ideas, you can look at my Iron Man. I have a Sonic Iron Man build. I also have a Vibranium Melee Thor build and a Vibranium Range Thor build, as well as a Sonic and Range Vibranium Black Widow build. I don't think they addressed whether or not Melee was going to be more viable, but we can assume it's probably not going to be. So once again, if you have a ranged character, you're going to be at an advantage. Like I said earlier, I'm planning on doing Hawkeye for the raid for the first run, or Thor, ranged Thor most likely. So for my Hawkeye, I have Vibranium on Split Shot, which is pretty much all you need to do whatever you got to do. Unfortunately, Split Shot, that piece only comes with might instead of precision, but what are you going to do? But that's where I'm going with it. Let me know in the comments what you guys are planning on doing for the raid, and I'll be around if you need ideas or help putting together a Vibranium build. Everyone have a good weekend. Be safe. Happy Halloween. I'm Stott the Gamer, signing out.